everyone has their time. Tuesday is our time. To go from the scriptural to the secular for a moment, there's two college professors who wrote a piece shortly after Governor Wolf introduced his budget bill in March on why we need to kill the property tax. Dr. Madonna, Dr. Young, I used to work with Mike Young a little bit at Penn State, Harrisburg. He and Dr. Madonna are now down writing a regular column at Franklin and Marshall on a variety of state issues. And I'm not going to read this whole thing. I promised you I was going to have the short presentation tonight. But let me just a couple of quick highlights here in a minute and a half. Why not get rid of the property tax school funding forever? It's unfair, it's regressive, it's enormously expensive to administer. The property tax is inefficient, it's inelastic, well, there's a good word, it's Byzantine, it's unreasonably complex. I've got a doctorate in public policy, and I have to tell you, if I ever had to explain exactly how my school district property tax bill is figured out, I don't think I'd pass the test, all right? This is one crazy tax, and as you might have guessed tonight, it is wildly unpopular as well. Deeply resented, probably the most hated tax ever devised in the state of Pennsylvania. This is my favorite quote in their analysis. Now in the 21st century, talking about reforming the 19th century property tax is really just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic long after the iceberg has been hit. The property tax, Ron showed you all the R's, it cannot be reformed, but it can be abolished. And think about this, again, from the professor's perspective. Getting rid of the property tax means that Wolf wins, the GOP wins, and most important of all, the long-suffering taxpayers of Pennsylvania win. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the goal on Tuesday. Keep those cards and letters and phone calls coming. It doesn't get any better than that. Thanks for the invitation. Okay, perfect. All right. I'm not answering all the questions by myself.
We have the A-team ready to answer the questions. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator David Argall, one more time, please. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'm going to provide a microphone to our senators, representatives, and activists that we have in attendance tonight, and we're going to begin an open Q&A session. We're going to have two microphones on the floor. You'll be able to field your question. Our representatives, senators, and attendees will be able to answer those questions for you. We'll get started right now. Oh, we got one already in the back.
We ran out of juice. Can you get us a copy? Can you get us a copy of this? We ran out of juice.
I like walking and talking.
Yeah, I'll get you a copy.
Appreciate it.
The only thing I missed was the very
I'm
first
computer
report
savvy.
of Argall.
There's a lot of people in here that are older than me. I mean, no
That's
offense.
the very first.
But how many of these people have computers that they can go on and look at these websites? Don't you think it's a better idea that we write numbers down from some of these people? Phone numbers. Am I right? Right. Thank you. That's my question.
All right. I'll give you a phone number. And my office in Hamburg, I'm sorry, Craig, but I got to do this. 562-3411. You call my Hamburg office tomorrow. We will give you the phone number of the senator in Erie for your Aunt Myrtle, and we will give you the senator from Bucks County for your cousin Fred. Any phone number you need, you call my Hamburg office tomorrow, and we will do it. And if you want to go on the computer, you can see the map on my website, which will show you every single senator that is signed on to the bill. Because remember, that's the first step.
Right.
But after that bill passes the Senate on Tuesday, then we need the House of Representatives. And I am convinced that, and I know it's been a struggle, but from everything that Jim has told me, when the Senate passes this bill on Tuesday for the first time in history, that changes everything.
And I must say one other thing, I am very proud that I was part of those billboards. And the most people in here, if they didn't know about it, how could they be part of it? It should have been advertised in the newspaper. That's my only say. That's what I have to say. I think more people, if they knew more other than through a computer, they'd be more, educated on what's going on.
If I could just add, I don't think there's anybody up
Thank you.
here that's not in favor of it either as a sponsor, a co-sponsor, or willing to vote for 76. It's not us. You got us. It's the others that you got to get that are around the rest of the areas of the state. We've been on board basically since day one. I was there with Sam Moore when he was in the legislature. I was a co-sponsor. I spoke on the floor of the House. We got beat. Jimmy knows that I was co-sponsoring his bill. I called for weeks and got 39 additional votes. The number that was shown up here, by the way, wasn't completely accurate. We were up to 98. I picked up 39 Democrats and Republicans on Jimmy's bill. What happened the day before we voted on this, and let's set the record straight about what went on up there, and we're going to face it again. Every major group, and I'm talking major groups statewide, I come into my office and there's a letter on my desk, and I think members that were there know that this happened due to them. The chamber, the manufacturers, the unions, the doctors, the lawyers, even the farm groups, even what surprised me, because I was in the real estate and insurance business, they were all opposed to it. I looked at that, I thought, we're dead in the water. Oh my God. And then my phone started ringing. Tommy, I gotta get off the bill, I'm sorry. Tommy, I gotta get off the bill. We went in the floor of the House. I supported Jimmy. Jimmy can speak for himself. We got slaughtered again. So it's not for lack of will. Every one of us up here are supporting it. But we've got a big mountain to climb with all of those major groups that we have to contend with up there, because none of them, basically, unless they change their mind, are going to be in support of it.
Real quickly, as the senator had noted, I took a picture of the, I didn't take a picture, Representative Argall's staffer took a picture of the crowd that was here. I sent that out to every one of my fellow Republican members, and I said, this is what we have in Berks County. This is the passion that we have for this issue. Representative Rozzi did the same thing with the Democratic members. The thing that I heard here the most tonight, that is the most important thing that was said, or at least one of the most important things that were said. Remember when Ron was talking about the fact, as to Senator Wozniak, I believe it was, Ron? Yes. It was not in support. So what did they do? They got in the car and they drove out and they talked to his constituents who put pressure on him to get back on the bill and to support the bill. You can call my office tomorrow and you can ask for my support, and I'll be glad to tell you right now, I voted for it in the last session. I'm a co-sponsor on it. I will speak on it when it comes up on the floor. But Representative Caltagirone said it best. I can lobby my colleagues, but whether you want to believe it or not, I don't have near the pressure, or I don't have near the influence as his constituents. So don't waste your time calling me. You got me. Find out who one of your relatives or one of your friends are in other parts of the state. You call them and you tell them to call their legislators. Thank you all for coming out. This is a great group. I appreciate the opportunity.
It's almost overwhelming to see all of you here. For those of us who've been talking about this for a long time, you know, I'm on the website all the time, the PTCC website, and I'm looking at all, you know, seeing all these things, and I'm really encouraged. But when you see real people that are here that would come out on a night to talk about this, it's historic. And it truly is historic, the timing of this, because of where we are in resolving the budget and in this vote that's coming up. you've given us a lot of energy, but we need you to take that energy and start moving some of our colleagues, moving some of your friends and neighbors to make those calls and those emails to help get this done. This is so important, all of us. And I'm, you know, I'm not a big shouter. I'm not one of these guys that's going to come up here and try to rally you up or anything. I'm just going to tell you, though, of the people that have come into my office and, you know, we shut the door, and they sit there and tell me the kinds of choices that they have to make in regards to their property tax and their income. People just can't make it. And then, of course, I hear the stories of younger people who talk about wanting to buy a home, but you can't do it when you know what that property tax is going to be. This is really holding us back in so many ways in this Commonwealth. Do we want a future for Pennsylvania? We do. We want our kids to be educated. We want to be sure that we have job opportunities. But sometimes we've got to do things differently. And I've always said this too, and I think it reinforces what Ron said. This will work when we also look at spending as well. That's absolutely imperative in this. So you're going to have to keep your eye on this as time goes on too, because the cries will be, well, gee, it didn't work. It can work. It can work. But we've got to be vigilant and keep it going. But we start on Tuesday. I feel real energized just being here tonight, and I feel real good about where we're going to be, David. We'll both be speaking on the floor. I know there'll be others that'll be speaking on the floor. Turn on PCN if you can't get there and watch it, because I really want you to be able to see this happen. Thank you, everyone.
Excuse me, Senator. I was in your office for an hour and a half almost. And Mr. Rozzi, I was with you all the time. I proposed the 10% sales tax, excludes food and clothing, abolish the property tax, so all these people that get own their own home, so you don't have to come back and smack them in the head, they can take the house away from them, okay? You don't want that. That bill, when you have 76, you ain't doing nothing. First of all, why should we pay school taxes when I don't have a child? Number one. Number two, people have to be responsible when they have their children to raise them and educate them themselves. There's people that never had children and they paid all their lives school taxes, and look at the education where it is, because the government controls it and there's nothing there. They can't read, they can't write. I was at the Flyer Star a couple of weeks ago. I met Donald Trump and the rest of them. So I just want to tell you something. You ain't doing nothing, because you're going to keep taking my house away from me.
Senators, representatives, I'm very sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an open dialogue, and these are people that are taking the time out of their day to work with us and speak with us. We will not verbally attack them. We are here to have an open dialogue. I greatly apologize for that. Please ask a genuine question that we can get an answer to. Thank you.
I really want to answer that, gentleman.
Please do, sir.
I think if you don't support this legislation, you're one of the few in this room that don't. I strongly support it. In terms of you're saying that people are paying taxes that don't have kids in school, I lived in the borough of Tamaqua all my life. I never called the police. But guess what? I paid local taxes so that I would have that service available to me in the borough. Buddy, that's the way the system works. Sorry.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bill, you know, I appreciate, you know, your opinion. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinion, okay? But educating our children, you know, we might not want to pay it, but unfortunately, that's part of an investment in Pennsylvania. Okay, and John F. Kennedy, okay, because somebody else said it earlier, let us not seek the Republican answer. Let us not seek the Democratic answer. Let us seek the right answer. And House Bill, Senate Bill 76 is the right answer. when you called my office and you asked me to look at the 10%, and we ran it through the legislative services, guess what? It wasn't coming up. It wasn't equaling up enough money. You couldn't even go to a system like that.
You just say you're chasing people away from business because you're taxing them. You got me out of business 21 years ago.
Okay, where's the business community on House Bill and Senate Bill 76? They're nowhere to be found. Where's the NFIB? You know, as a business owner, get it. Believe me, I don't want to pay taxes. You know, when I was operating Rozzi Brothers, and I was paying $10,000 a year in school property taxes.
Next generation, I don't worry about me. I haven't worked for 21 years. I'm all right. I'm talking about from the next
and I get that, and everybody else here gets that. But guess what? We have to get to the right answer, and this is the right answer, period.
I have another question over here.
Yes, I'd like to know that once 76 passes the House and the Senate, what are we going to do when it gets to the Governor Wolf? A wonderful governor.
The Reading paper asked me that question a couple of months ago. And what I told them, I'm going to tell you. If we pass this bill, and I believe we will pass it on Tuesday in the Senate for the first time in history, and then if the House follows suit and passes it for the first time in history, I can't imagine the governor vetoing this bill. That would be suicide. Political suicide is probably the politest term I can think of. Thank you.
We're all sitting outside his office.
Look, you make a great point, and Ron Boltz made this point earlier, that this is a very, very important juncture right now. We have got a proposal that is being presented that talks about how we're going to tax Pennsylvanians going forward. And we're on the cusp of that. A vote in the Senate on Tuesday for this proposal would put the brakes on a process right now that is out of control. This governor has vetoed bill after bill after bill. He has held people hostage. And we are at a point in time right now that our ability to get this through the Senate and then the House will give reasonable taxation policy in this state. And your voice needs to be heard. As these representatives and senators have said, you need to reach out. You need to talk to your friends and your relatives in different parts of the state and convince them that this is the path we should be going down for tax policy in the state of Pennsylvania. We need your help, we need your energy, and we need it in every section of this Commonwealth.
Yeah, my pessimism is probably a little bit higher than most here. I've been writing resolutions with Sam Rohr 10 years ago on property tax. In the last 4 years in the Senate, it was going nowhere until pressure groups like our here and a few senators decided it was time for Pelagi to get out of the way. Yeah. And that happened. And replaced him with Corman. Corman said he'd run the bill. If that is passed on Tuesday and it gets into the House, House Speaker Turzai said publicly he does not support the bill. I would address this question, I suppose, to Representative Cox. Are you confident that you can force this bill to be run? And secondly, if he does not run it, is there any House member up there that will vote for a bill, a budget, presented by Wolf that includes a sales tax increase which would kill SB76?
I'm pulling up on my phone to answer your question. There was a Facebook post by our majority leader. And in the House, at least, majority leader is the individual who determines which bills make it to the House floor. Speaker of the House does have some input. He can whine, he can complain, but we've had a number of things that have come head to head in our caucus, and the majority leader has essentially forced a vote in scenarios, even when the speaker has said, no way, no how, this isn't an issue for our caucus, I can't support it. And so there are a few of those out there where they've already gone head to head. And so the political capital, the political muscle has been flexed. And so I look at the fact that the speaker's opposed to this and I say, that's okay, he can be opposed to it. He'll carry some votes with him, and he'll pressure some people to vote against it. But the political reality when this bill comes over from the Senate is going to be a whole lot different than it ever has been before. It's one of the reasons that Dave Baldinger and I decided earlier on that I wouldn't be introducing a House bill this session. We were going to put all our eggs in one basket, so to speak, conserve our energy, if you will, not tire people out on the issue in the House, and we're going to focus our energy on the Senate, where there was already some, I'm throwing papers all over the place, where there was already some momentum. And so rather than, try to push a car completely uphill, we said, you know what, in the Senate, he's at least got the car on a plateau, and we can get this thing going again. So Senator Argall, Senator Schwenk, and others in the Senate have done a phenomenal job in moving that forward. But I want to read to you something that the House Majority Leader, again, he's the guy who decides whether a bill makes it to the floor or not. This is his Facebook post, I believe from today or yesterday, within the last couple of days at the very least. He states, the framework for a budget agreement was just announced at the Capitol. An awful lot of details still need to be worked out, but included in the framework are pension reform, liquor privatization, an increase of $350 million for basic education, property tax reform, as well as tighter controls on future property tax increases. And here's the part I want you to listen to closely. There will also likely be a vote on Senate Bill/House Bill 76 for complete elimination of property taxes to gauge support to go further than the reductions on the table. Whether it be with the budget or not, I am supportive of this proposal as well. This is an individual, and that's not the first time. At a press club meeting, he's been over and over again, this majority leader, Dave Reed, has been very supportive of this proposal. He's talked in a way that has confounded many of us who've never had a majority leader that embraced the concept. But he has told us repeatedly, Barry's been in meetings with the majority leader, I have, I think Jerry was there as well, pulled in the Republican members and said, look, I'm going to work this as hard as I can. I think you were in some of the meetings too, Mike. And so essentially he pulls in the Berks and Schuylkill delegation and says, you guys, I know it's important to you. I want you to know that I'm supportive of this. And he's echoing it on his Facebook page. He's echoing it at press events. It's the most support we've ever had from a majority leader in the House of Representatives. Now the Speaker has some clout, but the majority leader, I would argue, has more clout, because when you're a member of the rank and file and you want a bill run, Republican or Democrat, you got to make the majority leader happy on some level. He might say, you know what, if you want that bill run, I'm going to need a vote on property taxes. Sometimes the deals are struck that way. There are many in Harrisburg who will vote for something to get their bill passed. Others won't. I'm not condemning or advocating one way or the other, but the reality of the political landscape is the majority leader holds a lot of control. So I'm a glass half full kind of guy.
Where's the bill sit now? HB 76.
Well, as I said earlier, there is no HB 76 because we decided to put our efforts behind the Senate. We sat down with Senator Argall earlier on, and David Baldinger and I decided it would be kind of a waste of energy to go through getting everybody riled up about House Bill 76 or a companion bill for that matter. I don't have a problem with not having my name at the top of the bill. I've said this a million times. I don't care if it's Senator Argall's bill, my bills, anybody's bill. I want the job done. I don't care whose name is at the top.
Very good.
And so that was something that, they said, hey, will you not introduce the bill so we can focus on the Senate? I said, sure. So the goal is to get Senate Bill 76, and the way it's being described to me, it's not even likely to be a bill with the title Senate Bill 76 at the top. It will be House Bill whatever or a Senate bill whatever. They're looking at which bills they can amend on the Senate floor to get that language over to the House. So whether that's a Senate bill or a House bill, it's not likely to be Senate Bill 76, but the language that's contained in Senate Bill 76 is what's going to come over. So you don't necessarily want to be talking and saying, vote for Senate Bill 76. You want to be saying in your calls and letters and emails, you want to be saying, vote for complete property tax replacement / elimination, the amendment proposed by Senator Argall. Again, we're not sure of the bill number even at this late date. I'm sure it'll be communicated to you as soon as we find out, but that's kind of that inside baseball stuff. But we've got, I think we're positioned pretty well in the House as well, and only time will tell. Is there a second part of the question that I needed to address?
Yeah, I said if the bill is on the floor for a vote, and the bill includes an increase in sales tax, and 76 is still sitting out there, would any House member vote for a bill that has a sales tax included, which will kill 76?
When you ask the question if any House bill or House member will vote for it, I'd have to say yes. There will be some who say, hey, something's better than nothing. As far as the panel up here, I can't speak for everyone up here. I know personally, if it doesn't eliminate and it doesn't completely lock down property taxes so that they can't go up at all, I can't even look at it for more than, if they say we're going to increase it or we're going to cut them back and allow the authority of the school districts to continue to raise taxes, I can't vote for that. And based on discussions with the others up here, I don't know if anyone wants to stop me. I can't see us supporting something that doesn't put the reins in on the school district because it doesn't make sense. Ron did a great job of explaining, you don't kill the thing, it's going to continue to come back. It's only a handful of years before your property taxes are right there strangling you again.
Barry, I promise I'll be very brief. But I think, Gillen's gone, don't worry, Gillen's gone. Listen, a reality check, okay? When it comes over from the Senate, that will be good for us, because that gives us more leverage. But I want you to remember something. We voted 76 last session. We had more co-sponsors than we did people that voted for it. We got 59 votes. We need 43 votes. So your job has just begun. You need to call your relatives, and again, don't waste your time calling me or anybody up here. We're on the team. But you need to call, and it's going to be a much bigger chore. You guys need to reach out all of the organizations similar to yours throughout the Commonwealth, and they need to lean on their legislators. They need to lean on their legislators and stress the importance of this legislation.
I just want to add one comment on the heels of what Jerry said. When he talks about the loss of votes, we had, at the time of the vote, we had, I think it was 89. Is that the number you have up there, Ron? 89 co-sponsors on the day of the vote. We ended up with 59 actual votes, so we lost 30. You remember a few moments ago when I described to you the power of the majority leader to peel off people because he wasn't going to run their legislation? Mike Turzai was the majority leader last session. He had the power of running bills or not. He no longer has that power. The guy who has that power is in favor of the bill. So the dynamic there has shifted. A bill coming over from the Senate is an all-new dynamic as well. Glass is half full, people.
I just want to say a couple things. Last December, actually, when we first got into Harrisburg and we started working there, Dave Reed is the leader. He put a coalition together of members of the House to talk about this school property tax. And he brought people in there that didn't want it. He brought a lot of us in there. And I got to tell you, we met every 2 weeks for 6 or 8 months up until the middle of the summer. We were just meeting and talking about this and hashing it out. And talking to Dave, Dave now understands what the people want and what the people of Pennsylvania need. And he has said in caucus, just on Tuesday, he came right out and told every Republican member that he's in favor of eliminating the property taxes. That's a powerful statement for him to make. So we've worked on this, and I got to tell you one other thing quickly. Yesterday, I was at the Crown Plaza, and I was there with the Veterans Day, and the speaker was Rob O'Neill, the fellow that actually shot bin Laden, and he gave a speech. And you know what? In the end of his speech, all the way through the SEAL team training and everything that they do, their motto is never quit. Never quit. And these guys right here and me, we're never going to quit on this. We're keeping with it. We are going to work it until we get it done. That's our promise, and that's what we want to do. We will do our absolute best to do this and make this happen.
Let me just add one ditto. I agree with what Jimmy's saying about the majority leader, but your point is well taken. What bill will come first to vote? Here we are, this is the General Assembly. Put 76 up, or whatever piece of legislation it's going to come over in. Put that up first. Don't do the budget vote first, because that destroys what we're attempting to do here tonight. So it's his call as to what bill is going to run first.
Okay, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have time for one more question, but by popular demand, we have lists of every phone number that you could ever need available for you as you exit to start bringing those phone lines tomorrow.
Just one question, that's a question for representatives. We know who's going to support us in the Senate. We know who's going to support it in the House. We need to know who is a co-sponsor of your memorandum. We know you guys are. Well, no, what I was going to say is that the bill was voted last session. So if we can get you the bill number and you can pull up the bill and you can tell for the most part who voted for it and who voted against it.
Of the 59 who voted for it, I don't have the number off the top of my head. I want to say 10 or 12 are no longer in the legislature. They retired, moved on to something else. So we're starting probably somewhere around 45, 48 of people. We can provide that. If you want to contact my office, Ginger's right over there. She's taking mental and probably written notes as well. But we'll put together a list of who it is that is already a supporter, and they showed it with a vote. And what that will do is give you at least a starting point of people that probably don't need to be contacted. They're probably going to be on board again. So they won't need to be contacted. Over the course, as Senator Argall works to get this over to us, over the course of the next several days, I will be also tabulating based on a vote we had back in October of 2013. We tried to put an amendment on. We saw who was with us at that time. I'll try to peel out some different things that will give us some talking points and give us the ability to go to different members. But we can provide you at the very least with the vote, or with the list of members who are still in the legislature, who are 99% going to be with us. Absolutely.
The goal, of course, is to move this pretty quickly, and I am thrilled that the Senate is coming up with this on Tuesday. And I hope you all notice something here. He didn't call it my bill. I didn't call it my bill. I didn't call it our bill. It's your bill. I mean, literally, we have over 80 different taxpayer groups that have come together on this. I said to Governor Wolf, I said, when was the last time taxpayer groups came to government and said, raise the sales, raise the income tax? If you ever need proof on how much people hate this unfair property tax, there it is. And we also, of course, talked about, David Baldinger, who has worked so hard on this. And I've attended meetings with him in all kinds of counties far from Berks. I don't know any better way to help David Baldinger feel better than by passing this damn bill on Tuesday. That was for real for him in any hospital or any doctor Governor's bill. And so, thank you to all of you. Believe me, when we scheduled this months ago, we had no idea how historic this week was going to be, but I'm absolutely certain we couldn't have moved this bill this far without you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude everything for the evening. I'd like to challenge you before you leave, grab one of those sheets with the phone numbers and the emails on them. Do what you can to do your part, and thank you for attending such a historic night. School property tax elimination will become a realization. Thank you.
Whose brain Abby someone? Abby someone. Abby who? Abby normal.